Folks in the town of Campbell have not been able to use their own water for years because of PFAS contamination in the town's wells. Today, State Senator Brad Pfaff, along with other state officials, introduced new legislation to help combat against the issue. News 8 Now's Michael Germain was at the meeting this morning and has more on what is being done. Good evening, Michael.
Yeah, Emily, State Senator Brad Pfaff and Representative Jill Billings gathered here this morning at the Campbell Town Hall to introduce two new pieces of legislation against the forever chemical known as PFAS. Now, the first part of that bill would remove PFAS from new products, while the second part would advance groundwater standards throughout the state.
This legislation would stop the non-essential use of toxic PFAS chemicals in everyday products, like food packaging, carpeting, cookware, dental floss, and other cosmetics.
But it won't happen overnight. The bill would ban the sale of products containing PFAS starting in January of 2028. Companies like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Whole Foods have already committed to eliminating PFAS in their packaging. The second bill would require the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources to amend its rules to enforce the Department of Health Services groundwater standard.
So within the comprehensive legislation Representative Billings and I are introduced would move forward with this comprehensive groundwater standard.
The legislation would also include grant programs to assist local governments and private well owners with testing and cleanup in their wells.
Legislation would allow communities in the state that have PFAS contamination to gain access to clean water supplies,
while using the PFAS Trust Fund as a funding source for the new PFAS grant programs.
The legislature has approved $125 million for PFAS assistance. That money is still sitting there. It has not been released yet. It needs to be released.
Town of Campbell Board Supervisor Lee Donahue says everyone deserves to have a clean water source.
I must tell you, I have a huge garden in my backyard. I have a raspberry patch that's 12 feet wide and 100 feet long, and I don't eat them.
Now, the legislation comes as Governor Tony Evers has signaled a likely veto of a $125 million bill that critics say limit the DNR's authority to test for PFAS contamination in the future. Reporting in the town of Campbell, I'm Michael Germain, News 8 Now.
All right, thank you, Michael.